the basic principles of man down. There are just a couple things that you don't want the attack to do. So one of them would be you don't really want them to be in the middle of the field because it kind of gives them the best perspective. It's the best place to attack from. So whatever your man down defense might be, you want to make sure that you're keeping attackers out of this area and setting up to protect this area right here. So if an attacker's here, you want the defense set up this way. So on this angle, it would be left foot up a little bit at a 45-degree angle to really keep this attacker out in this direction. The second piece would be, I don't really want the ball to get behind. Even if they have 2 or 1 people behind the goal, at some point you're really opening yourself up to get picked apart. So if you have 1 person behind at X, there's now 6 people up top. 6 attackers up top. You know, they could be spaced out like this. You have 1 defender typically on the ball. And now one of them is going to be open. So that's 4, 5, 6 attackers versus your 5 defenders isn't a very good ratio. So you don't really want the ball to get behind at X because they'll set picks. One of them in that 2-minute foul will tend to get open. So you want to prevent the ball from getting behind. If a team does get the ball behind at X, which happens a lot, you can either sit back, try to defend this the best you can. And if you have very capable defenders that are very good at communicating, I don't think you have to rush back and try to flush the ball out. Because you can play one man down. Teams do it all the time. But if your team does struggle with communicating, you might want to flush this girl out, knowing, if you go this way defensively, the attacker is pretty much has to go this way. So your defense will have to slide to the crease, which will force the pass. It could be a bad pass. You could get an interception. You could get a knockdown. So that's another way of trying to get the ball back in a man down. Another piece or a principle to man down is always get the ball back to where it came from. So if I'm here playing defense and there's another attacker in this area and she passes the ball to this girl. So it's very important that this defender knows, okay, where did the ball come from? It came from here. So if I'm going to set up maybe with my right foot up at that 45-degree angle to force this girl back to where it came from. If you don't do that, if you don't force the ball back to where it came from, now let's say she comes out and she forgets that rule and the ball gets passed to her and she sets up flat. She's like, tired. She doesn't remember. Now she opens this attacker up to pass anywhere on the field. Now she can kind of get to that sweet spot. Now she can kind of see the rest of the field in this area. And that's exactly what you don't want to do because it forces the entire defense to rotate. If you keep the ball confined and back to where it came from, it really keeps the attack very compact and doesn't really cause the defense a lot of movement. And that's exactly where you want them in a man-down situation.